بدأت في استراليا مع شخص تم رفضه أو لم يؤمن الكثير بموهبته، لكن حلمه أبصر النور في دبي والتي انتقل إليها ليحقق أحلاما كبيرة.
طبعا أحلامه حققها من خلال عمله بدبي، حيث استطاع أنه يمكن الآخرين، وذلك رح نتعرف عليه أكثر بفقرة موطن، الحلم والإنجاز مع الزميلة هالة بو علوان، يلي رح تلقي الضوء على تجربة مقدم البرامج ورجل الأعمال كريس فايد بالإعلام وريادة الأعمال.
يسعدنا أن يكون معنا اليوم النجم الإعلامي ورجل الأعمال السيد كريس فايد. Good morning, Chris. Great to have you here.
Good morning. So good to be here.
Same here. Same here. I'm so happy you're with us today. Chris, I think I have a curiosity which many people I think do have this curiosity about you. This passion and talent for public speaking, public appearance, media, all of that. When did it start? Did you notice it when you were a kid? Did your parents notice that? Or it just happened by accident?
I think it happened by accident. When I was a child, I was actually very shy. I had a speech impediment, which meant I used to speak with a lisp. So I used to talk like this. So I didn't ever wanted to talk because I was really embarrassed. And I had a very slight stutter when I was younger. So I never thought that I would be a career where I'm always talking on radio or on stage or entertaining. So I think I fell into it accidentally, and I didn't realize that it was going to become my passion.
Do you still remember what was this accident, like, which led you to there?
I was working for a company where I wasn't doing too well, and I remember the boss at the time came up to me and said, "This job is not for you." And they said, "I heard there's a radio station looking for someone to be part of the promotions team, to drive the radio station car around." Now, this was in Sydney where I grew up. Yeah. And I gave it a go and I applied, and I didn't win. I didn't win the job, but I made contact with people in the radio studios. And maybe a year later, they called me up and they said, "Hey, there's a position here. It's a very low paying position. It's to clean the cars and give out stuff. Would you be interested?" And I thought, you know what, let's give it a go. And taking that job was the first time I ever thought to myself, I like this radio thing. Yes. I used to see the radio presenters talk behind the microphone, and I thought, I'd like to give this a go. And I just used to learn. I used to stay around after my shift for free and speak to the radio guys and the presenters, and I used to learn from them. I didn't go to college or university, so I thought the best way to learn is from people doing it.
Yes, real life experience.
Yeah, real life experience. And nearly 2 years of working along for free. Eventually, they gave me my own show in like 12 a.m. in the morning, the worst show you can get, but it was a show. And
amazing. And Chris, when we listen to your show, I think you're not a typical presenter or media personality, because in every story you share, whether your own stories or guests on the show or even the team you have, there's always a touch of humanity. You love to support, you love to share experiences, and kindness is contagious. Why did you add this spice to it, this like wonderful thing to it?
I just think, human connection's a really important thing that we don't do enough of. We live in a world where we're all on our phones and looking at social media and watching TV, and I feel like I want to make sure that I connect with our audience. And, we've had the #1 show in Dubai for English radio for, the last 14 years, and I really believe we've formed a family. And yes. Anyone that listens to our show in the morning with Pretty and Rusty and Nala, we're a family. We're a group, and people tune in to listen to our family. Sure. So if it's me telling my story about going through depression or going through a divorce, or I tell my story and my mum will say, "You are sharing too much. Why do you share so much? Haram, keep something for yourself." But I share that not just to tell my story. I share that because I know there's other people driving in their car or listening to my show that will relate to that. And when they relate to you, they will stay with you.
True. Absolutely. It's very real.
It's real, yeah.
It's not polished. It's like just very genuine. Yeah. Chris, you started in Australia.
Yeah.
What made you come to Dubai and just take this risk and launch what you launched?
So my parents are Lebanese. They both were born and raised in Lebanon, and they migrated to Sydney when the war happened in Lebanon many years ago. And for me, I was raised in Sydney, in Australia. أنا بفهم شوي شوي عربي. I can understand like the Arabic dialect, but I can't speak it very well. And the opportunity, I was doing radio in Sydney for about 3.5 years. And then I remember I went through a breakup. I was with a girl and I broke up. And I was doing this job and it was fine, but I wanted to do more. And my boss at the time said to me, if you want to travel and you want to do radio overseas, I have someone that I can introduce you to.
Was this the same boss who told you you don't belong here? You
No, that guy got fired. Okay. No, the boss that told me originally that I'd never be on the radio, he literally said, I'm never going to put you on the radio. He got fired.
Okay, I'm glad.
And a month later, I was on the radio and he wasn't. It's crazy how life works, right? And so the boss at the time that put me on the radio said, hey, if you want to go outside, I can help you. And I met a guy called Ian Grace. We call him Gracie, and he's the CEO of all the Virgin radios across the world. We have many Virgin radios, right? And he said to me, I'm opening up our first Virgin radio in the Middle East. It's the first radio station that the Virgin brand, Sir Richard Branson, will do in the Middle East. It's in Dubai. Yeah. Are you interested? Now, this was back in 2005 I was having this conversation.
Yes.
I didn't really know too much about Dubai. And I thought to myself, do I want to take this? I thought, well, Lebanon's 4 hours away. Maybe I'll learn more Arabic being in Dubai. Let's do this. And I was able to start with the Arabian Radio Network. I had done my research on ARN. I knew that they were one of the biggest radio networks in the region. So I knew that was a good network. I knew it was for Virgin Radio. And I was setting up a radio station. So I came out, I helped set up Virgin Radio. I was doing the afternoon show at the time. And I took a little bit of not a risk, but I took a little bit of a chance. I told my mum, I still remember her being at the airport and she was crying. And I said to her, I'll be back in 2 years. Let me just do 2 years in Dubai. And here we are 16 years later.
16, and Kris, 16 years living here and having so many stories shared on your show. How the life in Dubai is portrayed through these stories?
There is no other city in the world like Dubai. For me to be here for 16 years, there's a reason. And it's funny because maybe the first 6 years my parents would always ask me, when are you coming back to Sydney? When are you coming back to Australia? Now they say to me, maybe we should move to Dubai. And I
see them, they come here quite often. Yeah.
And if I didn't have other brothers and sisters, they would be here. Yeah. There's something about this city that has inclusion, it has opportunity, it has safety. It's become the new center of the world. Yes. You know, just recently I was with Will Smith. Yes. And Will Smith helped me propose to my wife, right? Really? So I speak to Will, and he came and launched his new movie here. Yes. Bad Boys 4. And we were talking off camera, and he said, we don't need to do this in Hollywood. We want to do it in Dubai. Yes. And he even was saying, we can maybe film the new Bad Boys in Dubai.
Kris, I think many people who will watch us or watch you usually or listen to your show would want to be like you or take this path. But I think it's not an easy path. Media is very, very, very challenging, whether competition, whether judgment of people, different ideas, different points of views. What is your main advice for people who are hesitant to go into this field, but just, take the chances and just take the risk and, follow their dreams?
So I always say this, don't ever get into anything to become rich or famous. If you want to get into this industry because you want to get famous or you want to make money, don't even start, because it's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now. But if you want to come into this industry, be it radio, be it TV, be it whatever it is that you want to do, come in here with passion.
Yes.
It's a lot of hard work.
Yes.
People see from my Instagram or my social media or from radio or from TV my success, but they don't see how we got here.
Yes.
And there's a lot of hard work to get to this point, right? And there'll always be people to bring you down. Even today, there will still be people that don't want to see Kris Fade succeed. And I'm aware of it, but I like that.
Yes.
I want that.
This means you are successful.
That's right. If you're not getting that, it means, well, maybe no one knows who and what you're doing. Find what you really, truly are passionate about, and just know that there's a million people wanting to do it. There's a million people that would want to be in your chair, Hala, right now doing what you're doing. There's a million people that would love to be what I'm doing. Yes. And they're ready to take your job. So you have to make sure that you're always on top of your game.
Yeah, and actually I'll add to that, if I may, from a viewer or listener to you. I think one of your secrets, which is very distinguished from others, is the humbleness. How do you maintain that? Like, you're really very successful, and many people would want to be in your position, but you're so humble and so true and genuine and, you know, very real. How do you maintain all of that?
I think that's my upbringing. Thank you, first of all. I think that's one of the most beautiful things that people tell me sometimes. Yes. And I love that. I want to make sure that anyone that I meet, even if it's for a split second at the mall, to where I want to make sure we have that connection.
Yes.
Because, you know, I know how that feels when I got to meet my idol, you know, or someone that I was a fan of. It's a feeling like no other. So I want to make sure when I see that moment, I want it to be special.
Yes.
And I've seen people with ego destroy their entire careers, you know, and it happens often. I've seen really talented people as well destroy their career because of ego. And once you let ego get in front of you, that's where it sort of starts to crumble down. So I keep myself in check. So do my friends and my family. My wife, she'll keep me in check as well. You know, one thing I've realized as well is I get to be around really big names.
Yes.
And I usually find the bigger the name is, the bigger the star, the more humble they are.
They are.
The more respectful they are.
So true.
They come on time. They're nice. It's usually the up-and-comers.
They respect everything. Yeah, small details.
I usually feel it's the up-and-comers who don't have that, feel like they need to prove themselves of, don't you know who I am?
Yeah.
You know, I have 1 million followers.
Yes, I know.
They're the people that have the ego. But when you don't need to have the ego and you can just walk into a room and be real and talk to everyone and say hello, that's where life is, you know.
Absolutely. Kris Fade, it's a pleasure always to have you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Pleasure. Thank you so much as well, Hala. Thank you.
Thank you.